I asked Elena to tell something about how they can work in Ukraine at this time. What is going on in a laboratory on the side of science? Elena, take your screen.
Okay. Hello everybody. Thank you, Augusto, for opportunity to participate in this webinar. And sorry for my homemade English. I know some problems we have. And first of all, I would like to introduce myself, who I am. So I'm a researcher, I'm a lecturer from Department of Agri-Technologies and Soil Science, Sumy National Agrarian University. So where is Sumy? I would like to explain where we are. Where we are here. So it's northeast of Ukraine, northeast. It's about 40 kilometers to Russian border. And now I'm here, yeah. So it was only 1 month with half in March, when I have moved a little bit because it was so dangerous, and we decided to move. So one month with half, I have stayed in other region, it's Vinnytsia region. So then I returned because I should work, because I have PhD students. So we have field work, so we need to work. Yeah. What I want to explain you what we do usually with my team. Usually we have 2 or more topics with our students, with PhD students. So first, we have now plot as organic plot. So first topic that I would like to explain, it's biologization of agricultural system through a rational combination of tillage, grain manure, soil probiotics in the northeast forest of Ukraine. I work in the forest zone, but time to time also we make research in the north of Ukraine, so it's a forest zone, not forest steppe. And also we start these 2 years work with soil probiotic. For example, Lianum. Lianum contains microbiota from fertile Ukrainian soils, microorganisms of natural origin there. For example, nitrogen fixing azotobacter, tuberose bacteria rhizobium subtilis, phosphate mobilizing bacillus subtilis, Megatherium, Pseudomonas, and others. And it was a special product from now occupied organization in Kherson. So this year it was so hard for my PhD student. We couldn't buy, we couldn't get from this producer, this Lianum, for continue our work. So some farmers shared with us some residues of Lianum that had been both of them in February. So now this area occupied and this organization can't be functioned. But we still work with this because we should finish our work with PhD student. And the second topic is improvement of the system of fertilization of grain crops and the conditions also in our area. So we calculate of different norm and dosage and term of the application of mineral fertilizer with purpose to improve of nutrient management and also for a rising of crop yields. It's usually corn and winter wheat and also buckwheat. So we work in small crop rotation. And it's usual our work in the springtime, yeah, in the summer and the autumn. So we work in our field and also in the other fields of our farmers in my region, in Sumy Oblast. What about my oblast? I would like to say that we have good fertile soils, you know. It's totally in Ukraine. We have agricultural land is about 68.8. It's quite high percentage that involved in agriculture, and arable soils, you could see this percentage. And about my region, Northeast, the Sumy region is about 65% of Chernozem. So it's quite fertile. And I'm here, so humus content is about 4% and more. So it's usual maybe for post-Soviet countries to use usually as indicator humus content, not organic carbon, but we change our mind. We add also much more this indicator. Especially we also work with Institute of Soil Science and Agrochemistry in Kharkov, but now Kharkov is also occupied, and our researchers work online, and some land totally under occupations, so they can't take soil samples. They couldn't sow crops. So now we have total disaster, you know. So yeah, and when I've got the title about my presentation, what about global warming? Yeah, it's according to Humusica project. Yeah. So what is changing in Ukraine? So usually what people, our Ukrainian people, can see around them. So frequent fires. I think it's both also you have in your countries. And the rivers, lakes, swamps dry up. So level of water are reducing. Uneven rainfall and increase in air temperature by 1-2 degrees. More and more land is being tilled because farmers want to have much more profits. So they took much more square meters for their crops. Deterioration air quality due to the large number of cars, especially in big cities, and use of firewood for heating. For example, now I live in the private house, so we use firewood, so wood for heating, because it's cheaper than price for gas. So we buy gas from Russia or from other countries, but okay, Slovenia or Hungary, it's also gas from Russia. Sorry. So in the winter time, and especially in autumn, I feel this air, this odor of woods. So around my city, a lot of people live in private houses. So they use the woods, and this all effect go to the air. And what else our people can see? Uprooting and self-sowing forest crops. So 3 years, these last 3 years, totally disaster, I can say, as soil scientist and agronomist. Okay, I'm agronomist, but I don't want to raise much more land for agriculture, because I see the result you could see about level of water, also about increasing the frequency of dry winds, because a lot of area under tillage. So reduction in the number of livestock we have in Ukraine. And now we import a lot of meat, a lot of milk products, import. But we have so many hectares we can do by ourselves. But we have problem because it's too expensive, because it's gas price, it's a high price for electricity, for everything. So now we have such problem. And that's why we have the tendency in reducing in the amount of humus. So we don't apply necessary amount of organic fertilizer. So we notice the decreasing humus content with our intensive agricultural producing. So according to this point, increasing the number of chemical treatments we have for plants, of course, increase in pests and diseases of crops because of global warming, also it influence, and farmers start already grow more southern plants, so unusual for our zone. So we try to grow different trees, different fruits, so develop our orchards and horticulture in new way. Also deforestation, and we can see in these some 5 years maybe, it's a pestilence of bees and biodiversity decline that we can see totally, or everybody, not only agronomists or ecologists, everybody, each person. And what about world change? What is changing? Yeah, it's Ukraine. You can see, usually I talk to my students and I explain them that our forest zone, it was forest zone here, then it's like in orange color is forest steppe zone. Here it is, it's steppe zone. So why we divide it on the two parts? Because the area, square meters of our forest zone rise up. So move to 200 kilometers. So steppe zone is quite increasing. So that's why we need to change our tillage and our relationship with soils in Ukraine. A lot of good fertile soil, but year by year our farmers use these soils and in not proper way. So causes of poor soil health that we see on our land. So okay, I told you humus content, yes, imbalance of nutrients. What farmers do now? They use mostly nitrogen fertilizers and a little bit phosphorus fertilizer, maybe sometimes potassium, or maybe not, because our soils have enough content of potassium because of loss. And especially in this year, under work conditions, farmers couldn't buy fertilizer in the spring, yeah, and especially in March. So it's also a problem with petrol, so it's too high for now, and all prices for products will be rising. It's not finished, so we don't know what will happen in future. What I can see, and others researchers see, deterioration of soil structure, and it's our topic in our research team, soil sealing, and also intensive soil erosion or wind or water erosion. And about soil erosion, I can say that, you know, precipitation in my city, for example, 565 millimeters. So it's okay for my area. But in the recent decades, fall is very unevenly, causing flooding sometimes and causing leaching of nutrients. So we have the same precipitation, but it's not equal. It's not equal spreading on the months. Acidification of pollution. Acidification, sorry, it's a little bit mistake. Acidification and also increasing in pollution, yeah, increasing in salt content because of steppe zone, because of high temperature. Temperature is rising, and also alkalinity is rising, and 35–40% of biodiversity in Ukraine is lost because of intensive agriculture. And what is behavior of young Ukrainians now? It's not only young, it's also a little bit older. So first, labor migration. So you see it in Europe and other countries. So intention of young people to live in rural area. Our government wants to see this, but how can we change this? No, we have no war, so we can't change this situation. We were thinking about this before war. So motivation of youth to work in agriculture, is it? Yes, I see the increasing of students on first year, second year. We'll see what happens in this year. I don't know, because a lot of students or a lot of pupils moved with their families to Europe and other countries. Will they return to Ukraine? We don't know. Second, compliance, low compliance behavior, very slow land changes, absolutely. So yeah, we were thinking about food quality and safety, but now I bought duck with meat without any signs, so I don't know who is producer. So in this war condition, it doesn't matter. You need to eat something, that's all. Environment in agriculture, yeah, changing totally. And before war, our agricultural organizations used new modern technologies. So we were talking constantly about sustainable, innovative technologies according to climate change. We used precise farming and so on. And what about food consumption and food security? Yeah, consumption behavior. I see a lot of people who change their mind, and they start to be vegetarian, yeah, no meat. And also factors affecting food security, it's also prices, also price. What is about your salary, what you can buy on this money, yeah. And again, about global warming, you know, we have problem in Ukraine with soil moisture before sowing period. So it's May, in the end of May 29. In my area, it's okay, almost okay. You could see here millimeters in 1 meter depth, yeah, and very dry soil you could see in the steppe zone, and also even in west part on Ukraine, yeah, it's a surface subsurface soil, but here it is surface. Here it is surface. So on the 29th of May, we had, for example, here about 5 millimeters. So it's too dry in the end of May for our crops. So we don't know about our yields of crops this year. We'll see. Maybe situation will be changing. We have now rain. And what's the situation around all regions in Ukraine? So, you know, farmers would like to have much more fields, so they tilt, and they don't think sometimes about water erosion totally. So you could see like this road, and they tilt some areas nearby forest, and we could see the effect. It's low, so it's problem. So the start is growing these options. Yeah. So we lose a lot of soil now because of water erosion, non-controlled. So no, and more land under treatment, even on the hills. It's unusual for Ukraine, because we usually use normal fields on the flat territory. But now they also take more land on the hills, and they cut trees. You could see pine. Yeah, they cut also pine. So this is the problem also. And when our people left the territory, so villages, and moved to the city, we see the result. So again, plant start to occupy their places. And this picture from Chernobyl zone that I had visited in last years, you could see, and horses and pine inside urban territory in last years. And what about more insects? Yeah, so we have on our organic plots a lot of insects that eat our crops, and of course it's very hard to fix it. So we use hand work usually, because it's not so big, you know, about organic farming problems. So we can't do that. And what's the problem we have not only on our field, with forests? With forests, you could see diseases also, and the forest died. So currently management, we were thinking about preservation of accumulated carbon in forest ecosystems by conservation and protection, but in war conditions we couldn't do that. Absolutely, it's fire everywhere in the territory where we have war activities. Yeah, we were thinking before starting of war, improving the productivity, sustainability, and biodiversity of forest ecosystems. We were thinking about adaptive forest management. Yeah, but now it's like a stop. We don't know, nothing changing for, I don't know, 1 year or 2 years. And we, after war, we should plant much more trees, because now we have problem. And okay, so ensure it's a program that people work under global warming decision. So it's the same point that, you know, it's agriculture without fossil fuels and using green energy. So management on soil fertility. So everything that you know that you in your country, we start to improve, especially about precision farming and soil and nutrient management plans. Yeah, big agricultural organization start to create their new soil laboratories, soil samples, but problem with crop rotation. So, and when we and also I want to show you that we have a unique territory. We call this Mikhalovska Tselina. It's a nature reserve. It's about 70 kilometers from my city. It's about 882 hectares, and 100 hectares soils haven't been tilled for 60 years. So it's unique territory, and in our plan to work with this soil. So 60 years, it's in nature without any anthropogenic factors. Yeah. And what about global warming? So we had conference last year. So objective and goals we have as in European countries also increase carbon sequestration and rotation by forests. It's our goal number one. And second one, it's a reduction of peat production and restoration of peatlands. But I can see that we couldn't do it because we will use peat for heating. Sorry, we need to be survived. Goal 3, reduction of emissions from agricultural land use. Maybe a little bit stopped also for future some years. And goal 4, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from livestock. Okay, livestock is dying in our Ukraine, so it's natural reducing will be. And situation on March in June, for example, in Sumy it was occupied by Russia. So you could see this area we couldn't use as agricultural fields. So we lost these fields for some years because they were bombed and distance bombing, and so we need this field needs to be treated first of all. And now situation changing. So my region is not occupied by under bombing, especially some territory. And you could see here it's a hard situation in the east and south. Yeah, and what we can see in our fields. That's the problem. Fields and too many holes because of artillery bombers, chaotic bombings. So it's our fields with winter wheat. So we have problem, total problem, disaster. And the different particles from these rockets also are in the soils. You can see this situation in Ukraine now in our fields. And what else do we need for our future? So no farmers in the south because Russians stolen our harvest, our grains. They bombed our tractors. I could understand this because it's who is humans? Human need to feed each other, but not kill. And this disaster. And okay, grow for yourself. How can we survive? It's my plot now. I grow for myself even. So it's like a jungle, but now our government say, please take soil, take land and grow something because we don't know about our future. So we try plant, we try and grow different vegetables for us, for food. So all problem is, not all problem, but the main for us is food. That's why, not only Ukraine, in Africa countries and in countries in Asia and so on, yeah. And first of all, we start to also study our pupils, our kids, to respect soils. And each year we organize the ecological campaign, and we work with kids. But now everything is stopped. Everything is stopped. But we have been doing this ecological camp from 2008. So we learn people. We would like to say much more about our soils. And maybe time, I don't know. So we usually in our university we work usually with green manure because of global warming, and we need to mulch our raw distance between plants. Yeah, so we use green manure in different ways. Absolutely, we try to research different tillage. In my plot, we don't research no-till, but we usually use conventional tillage by surface. It's also the same 25-20 centimeters. Also, farmers used, and surface tillage about 13-15 or 6 to 8. Now, because of high price for ploughing, for conventional tillage, maybe farmers start to use surface tillage and no-till. But if they have such equipment, so that's maybe the point. So crops for green manure, we use it in our land, and it's maybe in the first stage of our stopping of reducing humus content, because we don't use manure from livestock. So that's we research as green manure. It's a lot of text. So we use a radish oil seed. We research soil structure under these different tillages. Yeah, without green manure and green manure. Also, we estimate bulk density, water regimes, also carbon stock, and weeds spread, and different, absolutely, green manures now, and of course influence of these green manures on different yields. So yeah, we see result. We can save, we can protect our crops to reduce evaporation from the soil using these green manures. So it's point to reduce of influence global warming, you know. So, but in the end, I would like to say we can live in the easiest way, you know, and we can drink tea from the plants that we can collect outside our city. Yeah, we can cook soup that from vegetables that we can collect outside our city also, or as tourists in the living in the camp. Yeah, but of course we would like to live in the comfortable conditions, but we need a little, you know. We need a little, absolutely. Okay, thank you for your attention. This might maybe so much text from me, but it's emotions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
I see that you have in Ukraine the same problem we have in Italy, but in plus you have war. But we have exactly the same problem we have here. Yeah. And, coming there with my car and Judita this morning, we was speaking in the car and saying, but why people won't understand that there is a climatic change, and why people don't think to that? And we say, well, people are taken in their own duty, everyday duty. We have children to take at school. We have a meeting to do in Albarella. We have every human has something to do the day, and then at the end of the day we are tired. We go to sleep, and in the morning we began a new activity, and you end. Climatic change is too far from us. It's not enough. You see, it's impacting, but it is an additional problem, like in Ukraine, war came, but what Ukrainians do? They continue to live with what is going on, and we do the same with the climate change. Every day trying to do what is the best and go on, finally.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do better that we are doing just now. It's a deception, but what to do? I open the discussion.
Live. What to do? Live.
Yeah.
As we can, as we need, but try to improve our behavior and our mind.
Yes. But sometimes we would like to do better, would like to improve. But I see that we know the problem, we know the solution, but everyone is taken in duties. And I think that we will go right in the wall and then probably start something else. But I don't see how to stop this is the movement. It is, and yesterday I was thinking with Herbert, that is a worldwide problem. It's not only, we cannot solve the problem in Italy or in Albarella. No, nor in Australia. We have a really worldwide problem, and everyone is taken in I don't know.
Well, what I was, can I talk for a minute?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, the answer that I believe is they've talked about trees, which I totally disagree with, because if you drive a car all your life, you would need nearly a half a hectare of land to cater for the fuel that you use in the car. Your kids wouldn't have any land left. All the agricultural land would be gone, growing trees. So it's nothing to do with trees. Trees are a misnomer. And the creation of humans doesn't occur in trees. The best way of creation of humans is the mycorrhiza glomus, I think it's called. And they produce the protein that is needed in humans. That's why the grasslands of the world are the most fertile. And to grow trees is, to me, a backward step. All it does is limit the agricultural land, which, as far as the oil companies are concerned, petrochemical companies are concerned, if you limit that land enough, then you're going to have to buy more chemicals to grow it in a small space. The thing is to actually concentrate on taking it out of the air by the creation of humus. And humus is not a variety of things. Humus is very specific. It's human, humic acid, fulvic acid, ulmic acid, and a couple of other small acids. And they're very stable. They last for thousands of years. And they act as supermarket shelves for all the biology in the soil. Soluble elements attached to them and available for plants. Sodium and chlorine attached to them, and plants don't want them. And salted land become unsalted because it's trapped in humus. So I think the creation of humus is the most important thing we can do. And then with energy, basically, we all got to go nuclear. We're going to be nuclear in 100 years anyway.
And we know the solution. We have the solution. But
well, you tell me. If it's different.
What do you think, Andrea?
What do I think?
Yes, I agree. We know what we could do, and I think the best thing is to have plants covering the world and making humus, making organic matter in the underground, and that's the best favor we can do to our land and our soils. And I take the chance to ask to Elina if you have some favorite bioindicators to judge the success of your management towards a more biology-friendly kind of treatment in agriculture. What do you assay to see if you are moving into the right direction?
I moved to this direction only 3 years, but my colleague from my department started his research from 2004, and but I don't remember about microbiological activity in his research, but you know, yeah, usually in this maybe 5 years, I saw a rising of interest of farmers in biological products. So we have such organization in the central Ukraine. They create new biological preparates, yeah, biotics. So biotics preparate. So treatment for soil treatment, for treatment of seeds. So I work with crops, but usually with physical and chemical properties. No, so directly I don't work with microbiota. So my colleagues, yes. So yeah, they see imbalance between different groups of microbiota. So they research. Yeah, it's like it's not new topic. It's not new topic, but the interest is growing. It's growing. New proposals on our market, new conferences and webinar from producers, and they explain the mechanisms of activity this microbiota. Okay. Thank you for question.
Avete delle domande? Okay. I would say to Natalie that I try to find data, Italian data about humus, and to stay in contact with you and send some data from Italy about humus. And then it is probably relatively easy to translate the old classification in the new one, because you have all the diagnostic horizon. So it's relatively easy to, and in your slide, I saw that it is possible to do it. You have all the layers, and it didn't change so much, the classification. It's quite the same, a little more precise, and it's the same. So we can work together if you want to. And now I thank Lucas and Alan to be there with us. I don't know in the future if we will still work together. We will try to. And thank you for your contribution, for your presentation, for your effort we will try from Italy and on the other side of the world to push together in the direction to increase the humus in the soil and the consciousness in people that we have to act and go on in this direction, mixing art, science, social media, everything we can. And we try to do it together.
I think personally it was a great honor to talk to you people, hear your views and understand what was going on. And one of the biggest things because you made it happen. You made this happen. You made a lot of people all intensely interested in the problem, looking for a solution that will work. And everybody has their own ideas, but I'm very particular about mine. I think it's in the humus. And one thing that I would like to mention is that in the evolution, going back to the wiping out of the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, within about a couple of million years ago after that, the grasses developed, the flowering grasses developed, along with the grazing mammals. And with those was a carnivore. So the grazing mammals developed the grasslands of the world for their own use. Elephants, people like that, animals like that, they knock trees down. So grasses and the grass plant is the one that produces humus better than anything else. And it does it when the top has been bitten off, because it sheds the root structure. That becomes the food for the biology in the soil. And within a matter of weeks, it's regrown its grass, regrown its roots, and the animal can come back again. But those decaying roots are humus, form humus. I would love to get that record, but it is a very bad time of night, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you. Bye, and
Thank you.
Thank you too.
courage for your research in Australia. Ciao. Ciao, Natalie.
Ciao.
I love your country.
Ciao.
Bye. Bye.